Welcome to your deep dive. Ready for a really exciting one? We're diving into learning English, but right from the start as a beginner.
Love it. It's such a fun challenge to unpack.
It really is, and we've got some great material from you guys to help us with this deep dive. We've got one source here. It actually starts with something that seems, I don't know, kind of basic, the English alphabet, right? 26 letters.
Right. You think like, okay, I know my ABCs, but it's like those obvious things that are so crucial.
Yeah, totally.
Because mastering that, really knowing your ABCs inside and out, it just makes everything else smoother.
It's the foundation you don't even think about needing.
Exactly. You're not just like recognizing the letters, you're internalizing the sounds. You're figuring out how they fit together to form words. It's foundational.
Okay, so it's those building blocks, like you're building those pathways in your brain.
Absolutely.
And then this source jumps right into greetings. Hello, how are you? Goodbye. Okay, you've just landed in a new country.
Right. Exactly.
These are your lifeline phrases.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And think about it, not just for practical communication. Think confidence building. These little everyday phrases, they're like your icebreakers, you know?
Yeah.
They open little doors to interactions, however brief. Even if it's just a hello, that's a tiny victory.
Yeah.
That's pushing you forward.
It's like that first time you order food in a different language, and they get it right.
Yes.
Small step, but it feels huge.
Huge.
And speaking of small but mighty, the source then highlights these little words that we use all the time, but we kind of just I don't know, yes, no, please, thank you, sorry.
The glue. They're
Uh,
so important.
They are the social glue. I mean, these tiny words add all those layers of politeness, of respect, instantly making your English just more natural, more engaging.
So true.
Mastering them early on makes a world of difference.
It's like the unspoken rules. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It helps you navigate those early interactions more smoothly. Now, building on those kind of basic interactions, the source talks about really understanding basic sentence structure. So subject plus verb plus object.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like you're cracking the code a little bit, right?
You got it. This is the backbone, right? The
Yeah.
structure, the backbone of English sentences.
Yeah.
And once you start to get that, even a little bit, you unlock this ability to express your own thoughts.
Yeah.
You're not just using preset phrases. You're like, I can create something.
Yes.
My own sentences.
That's when it starts to feel real, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like you're not just mimicking, you're actually speaking. And then it goes into, speaking of building blocks, right? Vocabulary. Nouns, verbs, adjectives. It's like when we were kids learning to name things and describe actions. You know?
Exactly. Nouns for the things around us, verbs for what we do, adjectives to paint, like a more vivid picture. It all builds.
Yeah.
The more vocabulary you have, the more you can express, but also the more you understand.
Mhm.
It's that feedback loop.
Right. It's like you learn a new word and then you're like,
You see it everywhere.
oh, there it is again and again.
Yes, exactly.
And this source is good because it doesn't just throw a dictionary at you. It emphasizes actually practicing simple conversations. It even provides a little sample dialogue. It's short, it's manageable, but can you imagine having that exchange after a little bit of practice?
And that's the thing. It's starting small.
Yeah.
Building that confidence through these really manageable wins.
Yeah.
That sample dialogue, it's not just an example, it's a tool,
Mhm.
you know. Practice it, own it, and then get out there and have a real conversation. Even if it's just those few lines, that feeling is powerful.
And it snowballs from there. Then it goes into immersion, which I love. So it's
Mhm.
movies, TV shows, music, even podcasts like this one. Fun homework.
Right, that's the point. Learning should be fun. you know?
Yeah.
And we're so lucky we live in a time where English content is everywhere. Surround yourself with it, you know? Think of it that way. You're soaking it up naturally. You're picking up on those nuances, the rhythm, the flow.
It's like, when you learn a new song, you don't know all the words at first, but then you listen to it enough times, you're like,
Singing along.
yes. Speaking of practice.
Which, as you know, is key. This source really emphasizes speaking, writing, listening. They all play such a role.
Yeah.
It's like, think of it this way. Language is a muscle.
Okay.
And to grow a muscle, you got to work it out, right? You got to
Yeah.
be consistent, got to do it in different ways.
Right. Like any skill, the more you do it, the easier it gets in theory.
Exactly.
So even writing a sentence a day about your day. Today I woke up at 7 a.m. I ate breakfast.
Exactly. It all adds up.
Simple, but it's effective.
Every little bit counts.
Yeah.
And remember, every word you learn, every sentence you speak, that's a victory. But be patient with yourself. Celebrate those wins along the way. It's a journey. It's not a race.
I love that. It's so easy to get caught up in that I'm not good enough yet, but every word is a win. Every time you try to have a conversation, that's a win. And speaking of wins, this whole deep dive is giving me such a different appreciation for what goes into learning English. Because it's not just memorizing grammar rules, it's like you're unlocking this whole world of communication and connection.
It really is. And speaking of unlocking things, this source makes a really interesting point about how this source talks about shifting from like learning about English to actually using it.
Oh, that's such a good point. Like it's that moment when you stop worrying about making mistakes and you just start speaking.
Yes.
Which is like so much easier said than done, obviously.
Way easier said than done.
But one of the things I love about this source is it really encourages you to just go for it.
Yes.
Like just dive in. It talks about engaging in those like simple conversations, and it even provides a sample dialogue, which is kind of cool, as like a starting point.
And it's so simple.
Yeah.
It's just a few lines. Like, hello, how are you? I am fine, thank you, and you.
Right.
But those few lines can be incredibly empowering.
Totally.
Especially for a beginner.
Especially for a beginner.
It's taking those first steps, building confidence with each little interaction.
It's like, when you're first learning a dance move.
Yes.
At first, you're thinking about every single step, and you feel so awkward and clunky.
Yes.
But then something clicks, and you stop overthinking it.
Exactly.
And you just like, Mo.
That's the magic.
This source really captures that energy, that spirit of like, just go for it.
Yeah, don't be afraid to stumble.
Yes.
Those mistakes, those are valuable.
Yeah.
They're learning moments.
Each time
You make a mistake and then you correct it, you're like reinforcing the right way to use that word or that phrase.
Absolutely.
It's like building that muscle memory for language.
Yeah, totally.
Way more fun than memorizing verb conjugations, right?
Oh, so much more fun.
Right.
And plus, then you have a funny story to tell later, probably
Yeah,
like, oh, I totally messed that up.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, the source also talks about practicing with like friends, family members, whoever, anyone who speaks English.
Yeah.
It's like you're building the support system.
Exactly. You've got to have your people.
Yeah, as you're going through this whole process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have someone, readily available to practice with, you can always talk to yourself in the mirror.
Oh, I love that.
I know it sounds a little strange.
No, but it's true.
But it's a great way to just get comfortable with the sound of your own voice speaking English.
Totally.
Think of it like a rehearsal
Yeah.
before the main performance.
Yes. And speaking of performances, this source also talks about the power of like immersing yourself in English language media. So movies, TV shows, YouTube videos,
Oh, it's huge.
all of it. Yeah.
It's like giving your brain a front row seat
Yes.
to how English is used in real world situations.
Yes.
You've got subtitles, you can follow along, you can pick up new vocabulary.
Yeah.
You even start to internalize those little subtle nuances of pronunciation, intonation.
Yes.
Plus, it's just fun.
It's so fun.
Who doesn't love a good movie marathon, right?
Right. It doesn't even feel like studying.
Exactly.
And speaking of fun ways to learn, music. I don't know about you, but I still remember learning the days of the week to that little song when I was a kid.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean?
Music is so powerful.
Yeah.
It helps with your pronunciation, your rhythm, and it just makes it enjoyable.
It makes it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And while we're on kind of auditory learning, this source also shouts out podcasts.
Yes.
Which I think is cool.
Podcasts are amazing.
Because it's like you're listening in on these conversations about all these different things.
You can listen to them anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
On your commute, at the gym,
Yeah,
while you're doing the dishes. Exactly.
Yeah, just sneaking it in.
It's all about finding those little pockets of time,
Totally. And there's so many out there now
Oh, I know. So many.
that are specifically designed for English language learners.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's like having a personal tutor. Right?
It is. In your ears.
In your ears. Exactly.
So cool. But it's not all about like listening and speaking, right? This source also emphasizes the importance of writing.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I think is really interesting. It's like the difference between, just doing a quick little doodle versus like a detailed masterpiece.
Yes.
Both valuable, but in different ways.
Exactly. Writing gives you that chance to slow down.
Yes.
To really thoughtfully construct your sentences.
Yes.
Pay attention to grammar, vocabulary.
Yeah.
The source even suggests keeping a daily journal in English.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's just a few sentences,
Totally.
just about your day.
Yeah.
It's like a judgment-free zone
I love that.
to just play with the language.
Experiment.
Yes.
And then as you get more comfortable, you can, challenge yourself a little bit.
Of course.
Do longer entries, write a story, whatever.
Exactly.
Let's start in small.
And we've got all this amazing technology
I know.
to help us out here.
Oh,
right?
it's easy.
There are apps for everything.
Everything.
Grammar and spelling.
Pronunciation.
Vocabulary building, pronunciation, yes.
It's amazing. It's like having this whole team of people in
Yeah.
your pocket helping you.
A whole team of language experts in your pocket.
It's a game changer. But it can also be overwhelming,
Yes.
because there's so much out there.
It's a lot, yeah.
So how do you even navigate all of this? How do you know where to start?
It's really about figuring out what clicks for you, what works best for your learning style.
Right, because we all learn differently.
And one thing I think is so fascinating, this source kind of dives into a bit of brain science.
Oh, cool.
Did you know that our brains aren't actually pre-wired to favor any specific language?
Oh, really?
We're born ready to learn any language we're exposed to.
Wow, that's wild.
Isn't that amazing?
It really is. It kind of makes you think about those early childhood experiences in a whole new light.
Absolutely.
Because, I can barely remember what I had for dinner last night, but my brain somehow managed to download a whole language system
I know.
before I even started kindergarten. It's crazy.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is.
It's like, those early years are they really shape our linguistic foundation.
Yeah.
But the source also makes it clear, for those of us who maybe didn't grow up with English, we haven't missed the boat.
Okay, good.
Our adult brains can totally still learn new languages.
That's reassuring.
It just takes a little more focus, a little more effort.
We have to be more intentional about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
More intentional. It's not about turning back the clock. It's about recreating that immersive experience.
Yes.
But this time, we're making a conscious choice to do it.
Right. Exactly.
And that's where all those tools and resources that we've been talking about come in. The movies,
Yeah.
the music, the conversations.
Yeah.
It's like you're feeding your brain
Yes.
those ingredients it needs
Totally.
to build those pathways.
It's like you're building a gym, but it's a mental gym
Yes.
for your English skills.
Love that.
You've got your vocabulary weights and your grammar treadmill.
Yes.
And your conversation sparring partner.
I love it.
Yeah.
And just like physical fitness, consistency is key.
Yes. You're not going to, run a marathon after one jog around the block.
Exactly. Exactly.
You got to keep showing up
Keep showing up.
and pushing yourself a little bit further each time.
Absolutely.
Actually,
And as you build that consistency, something amazing happens.
what's that?
You start to think in English.
Oh, yeah.
It's no longer this foreign code you're trying to crack.
Right.
It just becomes a part of how you process the world.
That's the dream. When you're not having to translate back and forth in your head anymore,
Exactly.
the words just flow.
It just flows.
It's like that aha
Uh-huh.
moment when you're learning, a new dance move or something, and suddenly you're not thinking about each individual step.
You're just in it.
You're just moving with the music.
You're just in the flow. You're enjoying the rhythm of the language.
I love that.
And that, to me, that's what makes this whole journey so rewarding.
Yeah.
It's about so much more than just, memorizing words.
Yeah.
It's about connecting with people and cultures and ideas in a whole new way.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
It's about expanding your understanding of the world and connecting with other people and who knows, maybe even surprising yourself along the way.
Absolutely. You might find a hidden talent or a passion for a new culture you never even knew existed.
I love that.
This source has been so insightful, and I hope our listener is feeling, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into English, this sense of possibility.
Yes, me too. It's a good reminder that learning a new language, it's an act of courage, it's curiosity, it's creativity.
It really is.
It's a journey of self-discovery that opens up all these possibilities and connects us to people and places and experiences that, we might never have imagined otherwise.
And remember, you don't have to go it alone.
Right? There's a whole community out there.
All communities.
Of people who are learning just like you.
Yeah.
So to our listener, we say, embrace the challenge, find joy in the process, and never stop exploring this amazing world of the English language.